Hi folks, this is Rebecca Lane with Full Sail Online, and I am here to give a public speaking lecture on physical delivery. So what I'd like you to do right now is I would like you to think about a time when you saw somebody just walking down the street, and think about what you thought about that person that you saw. I bet you made some initial judgments about this person without speaking to them, without having a conversation with them, without watching them do whatever their job, their profession might be. Just walking down the road, you made some conclusions about this person that you probably thought were pretty accurate. Now, how did you come to these conclusions? So you don't know whether that person's good at their job because you didn't actually see them do their job. You haven't seen their reports. You don't know whether that person is a good conversationalist because you haven't shared that back and forth of conversation. So you based this opinion, this judgment, purely on their physical stance, their physical appearance, their physical delivery. So today, I'm going to talk to you about physical delivery and how important it is as a public speaker. So before we go any farther, I want you to pause this video. And before you pause this video, let me give you something to find. I want you to find a picture of someone that you respect, somebody who is in the workforce that you think is respectable, is at the top of their game, somebody who you would like to mimic. And it's even better if you can find a picture of this person when they're in a powerful situation. So maybe they're giving a press conference. Maybe there's a picture of them in a high-end meeting or a store, somewhere where they are in their element and they are doing their thing. Okay? When you have found that picture, push play on the video one more time. All right, welcome back to the physical delivery lecture, and I hope that you have your picture. I want you to keep it by as we continue to play this video. So what I'm going to go through is a few vocabulary words I want you to keep in mind as you are developing your public speaking skills. And the reason I asked you to go find a picture of somebody that you respect is this. So a lot of times if I look around in my immediate vicinity, I'll have a lot of people who are the same skill level, the same status level as me. And what that means is I'm probably mimicking the physical body language of people who are the same status level, the same social level as me, which is fine, unless I want to move up in status or responsibility or anything like that. Now, when we become a public speaker, we automatically move up in status or in responsibility because we become the source of information. It's essential to realize this because our physical delivery has to change just a touch in order to give us the authority to deliver information in a way that people will actually believe. So, here are the components of physical delivery. Now, as we go through these, a lot of these words are not going to be brand new words to you, and that's okay, but by defining them, we're putting everybody on exactly the same page so we can talk about these words in the same conversation. Now, the first word I want to bring to mind is posture. Now, your mom has probably told you to adjust your posture, to stand up straight, or don't slouch when you're at church, or something like that, right? So posture is how you carry your body. So posture refers to the placement of your shoulders, or the placement of your feet, the placement of your head, how you are standing, how your head is in line with your spine, is in line with your hips, stuff like that. It's our carriage. And when you were looking at that person walking down the street and you were making an opinion about that person, you were looking at their posture. So in acting school, one of the things they teach you is to find actor neutral. And I'm going to give you some acting terms because that's my background, right? But I find it's a really great tool to help us talk about posture. So I'm going to tell you how to find actor neutral. Actor neutral, go ahead and take your feet and put them right under your hips. So if you're looking in the mirror, your hips, if you follow the line of your legs straight down, you're not going to have a triangle, you're not going to have an inverted triangle. Your hips are directly under your feet, or your feet are directly under your hips. Okay, so go ahead and pretend that there's this imaginary string coming out of the very top of your head. So if you imagine your spine, and if you were to totally straighten out your spine, your chin would be tilted down a little bit, right? If you had a string coming up from the base of your spine. But we're going to move that string a little bit forward so that your head can actually balance, so that you can look directly forward. And we're going to have the string coming out of the top of your head. Pretend that you're one of those dolls with the strings coming out that jump its arms and feet. And what this does is this is going to really straighten your spine, and it's going to let your tailbone curl under just a little bit, so you're not sticking your bum out. You're kind of letting your bum tuck under just a touch. If you've done dance, this is going to feel really normal, and depending on how you feel about dance, it'll be good, right? This is a neutral posture, and it's a relatively comfortable, powerful posture. It's not self-deprecating. It's coming into your own. Okay. So you're looking in the mirror. You've got this actor neutral posture. We're going to change this posture one step at a time. First, I want you to take your arms. I want you to cross them in front of your chest. How does that change how you perceive yourself? Okay, go ahead and relax your arms. Now I want you to lean into one hip. So that means you've got one knee bent, maybe the other knee's bent, I don't know. Lean into one hip. How does that change what your body is saying? Okay, release that. Find actor neutral. Now I want you to slump your shoulders down. What happens if you slump them just a little bit? What happens if you slump them more? What happens if you slump them more? So this is going to cause well, first it's your shoulders, but it can't just be your shoulders, right? Because then the slump goes into your back. What happens as you slump down? How does that change what your body is telling people? Now, I'd also like you to take your hands, release that, find actor neutral again, stand up straight. Take your hands and put them on your hips, both hands on your hips. How does that change what your posture is saying? How does that change the message you are giving us? Okay, so we've got some different postures, and we're noticing that different postures say different things. I want you to think back to the postures that I just asked you to go, and compare them to the picture of the person that you respected. Were there any similarities? Were there any differences to any of those postures? Did any of them say anything close to what that picture that you have chosen was saying? Okay, moving forward. We're going to talk about eye contact now, because your body carriage is only one piece of this puzzle. Eye contact refers to how you are meeting the eyes of the people that you are in contact with. So eye contact, we make eye contact with people all the time, and some of the most intense eye contact is usually with people that we love very dearly or feel very, very threatened by. So, for example, your mother. You probably gazed into your mother's eyes when you were a child, and that creates a bond. It creates an intimacy. Or your partner, if you have a partner or you have had a partner at some point, if you were gazing into that partner's eyes, that is an intimacy, and it creates this intimacy. Now, I'm not asking you to gaze into the eyes of your audience members, but what happens when that eye contact isn't there? What does that make you feel like? What happens when you're in a class and nobody looks at you? Does it make you feel noticed? Does it make you feel unnoticed? Does it make you feel special? Does it make you feel invisible? Does it make you feel engaged? Does it make you feel bored? Think about how eye contact, in particular, that isolated physical feature. What happens when it's there? What happens when it's not there? And what kind of variations exist within that eye contact? All right. So we've got eye contact, and we also have gestures. So eye contact is the movement of your eyes. Gestures refer to the movement of your hands, of your arms, and your upper body physicality and how it moves in conjunction or not in conjunction with the words that you're saying, with your message. So effective gestures, they contribute to the meaning of your verbal message. And sometimes this addition, this contribution, can be very literal. If I say 1, 2, 3, and I move my fingers, 1 finger, 2 fingers, 3 fingers, this is a literal reinforcement of the words that I'm saying. But we can also have an emotional reinforcement. So if I pump my fist and go, yes, all right? So I have pumped my fist, and that physical gesture emphasizes the yes that I'm saying, right? And so we've got this physical embodiment of the emotion that I want people to feel, and that is where a gesture adds to the message. So what happens is our bodies communicate things whether we want them to or not. And it's really hard to microscopically control every single movement that we're doing. So A lot of times I'll hear people say, don't pace, and don't click your pen, and don't wring your hands, and don't do these. And yes, absolutely, don't do those. But what is the deeper meaning here? Why do we say don't do these things? These are large gestures that we have a little more control over that distract from the meaning of the words that we are saying. So if I am talking about something, but I wring my hands while I talk about it, this indicates something. It might indicate that I'm nervous. It might indicate that I'm distracted. Whatever it does indicate that there is something else going on in my brain that I'm not sharing with you verbally. And that's where the disconnect comes in. So think about gestures and how the people that you respect use them. The people who are in the position above you, the position, 2 positions above you, how do they use gestures to emphasize their words? A more advanced way to think about this is, what is the speed of the gestures that they use? Are they using lots of really big, fast gestures? Are they using smaller gestures? Are they using fewer gestures? Things like that. Start to observe those. All right, so finally we're going to talk about proxemics. So proxemics is the use of distance between you and your audience. So when we are in the virtual world, the use of proxemics, it gets a little bit more simplified. Something as simple as making sure that you're at a professional distance. So in the United States, personal distance, according to Psychology Today, personal distance, the closest personal distance, it ends at 18 inches. So 18 inches, that's a little bit more than a ruler. So you don't want to be closer than 18 inches if you are not personally involved with this person, if it's not your partner or your mother or something. You're not going to get that much closer. Okay? So in the virtual world, you want to make sure that I don't feel like I am more than 18 inches closer to your face. Okay? So you want to make sure that you are back far enough that it feels professional. And that's really simple. Now, if you are moving into the actual physical space, proxemics refers to not only how far away I am from you, but how I use that distance to my advantage, how I use that distance to add to the meaning of what I am saying. So how much time do I spend on the right side of the space? How much time do I spend on the left side of the space? How much time do I spend in the center of the space? How do I move from the right side to the left side? How much time do I spend in the front of the space? How much time do I spend with my back against the wall? Things like that. And how do I transition? So do I transition from stage right to stage left on a main point? Or do I transition for no reason? Do I wander? Do I move with purpose? Stuff like that. So what kind of a message does one's use of proxemics send? Again, pay attention to that picture of the person you found that you respect. How do they use personal distance when they are giving presentations? So finally, I want you to put these words to some very specific use. I'd like you to watch this video by Benjamin Zander. It's a TED Talk, Benjamin Zander. I personally think he's a really cool speaker. And he does some things that you might think are great, and he does some things that you might not think are great. So as we are becoming public speakers, one of the things that we are going to do is we are going to watch other people. And as we watch other people, we are going to decide, ooh, I like when he does that as a speaker because that makes me feel involved as an audience member. I bet I could do that. Or we want to, I don't like it when that speaker does that because that distanced me from that person. So I'm going to choose not to do that. And we get to make these really strategic choices. And that's about breaking this down. So watch Benjamin Zander and go back through the vocabulary words we just covered and answer these questions. So how does Benjamin Zander use proxemics? What message does his use of proxemics send to the audience? And is it something that you would like to mimic yourself? Or is it something you would not like to mimic, and why? Take a look at gestures. How does Benjamin Zander use gesture? What is the message Benjamin Zander's gestures are sending? Is it something that you would like to mimic or not, and why? How does Benjamin Zander use eye contact? What is the message that Benjamin Zander's eye contact sends to the individuals in the audience? Is it something that you would like to mimic or not, and why? And finally, take a look at his posture. How does Benjamin Zander hold himself? How does he carry himself? What kind of a message does this posture send? And is it something you would like to mimic or not, and why? All right, I think that this will put you on a great start to beginning your conversation about physical delivery. I'm really looking forward to learning about the discoveries that you come up with, and let me know if you have questions. All right, have a great time watching this video. I will talk to you soon.